Good morning, friends, family, loved ones. That's a joke from one of my counseling clients who used to say that the holidays are a time when we leave friends and loved ones to go be with family. Anyway, today's project is I'm making a bench. Basically, I have this chair here. I've bought a $6 folding chair from Walmart that I keep inside the tent at the desk, which, by the way, I need to bring out and stain and get some pictures of in completed form for y'all to see. Today, what I'm focusing on doing is making a couple other benches to sit on, and I cut this piece of wood early last month when we first arrived. I was going to chop it up and use it for firewood, but then I saw, maybe I can do something with this. And so what I plan on doing is making two stools, or benches rather, to sit on. And so I got out the chainsaw this morning. Macy was none too happy about that. She does not like the loud noise of it. And I cut it in half. And I can see too, what I should not have done is I had started to cut it a month ago, and since then it's gotten wet down in here. You can see it right down the middle of the groove of the board. But I'm gonna probably sand it a little bit. It is still attracting the tiny flies that are buzzing about. So that means there's still some wetness in this wood, but I'm gonna turn that surface there into a bench to sit on, and I have the other half to do that with as well. So what I'm doing at the moment is, let me sit that down, is I have cut this to, I think it was 20 inches, top to bottom, 20 inches. Well, it looks like it's 19 3/8 now. 19 7/8. Anyway, what I'm doing is I'm taking off the first 2 inches from the top, and what I'm going to do with them is, and I've already started here, you can see I'm cutting a 1-inch square into the surface of the top and going down 2 inches into the board, so that what I can come back and do, hopefully with the chisel and maybe even with the Black & Decker 12-volt drill, is put some 45-degree angled divots into the board, into the long piece of wood, the bench itself, and then have these come out at 45-degree angles. Use the 2 inches at the top here to hammer these into the board, and then once I get them in there, I've got some 2-inch, 3-inch nails that'll go nicely at angles that'll be good to set in there, so that these suckers aren't coming back out as soon as I sit down on the darn thing. This is kind of a tedious process too. I've seen, I think it was Trustin Timbers. If you check out his channel, I think he makes one of these similar to sit on. He also just takes the whole log, and he has it's about 8-9 feet long, so he goes maybe 4.5 feet, 4 feet, 4.5 feet, maybe 5. And he takes the whole log, leaves it intact, so it's 9-10 feet long, and then he puts 2 of these in at the ends, and he puts one, I think it goes vertical, at one end, and then without cutting it in half yet, he puts another one in here, and then further down he does the angled pieces. Boom. And then once he gets these driven in and secured, he takes his chainsaw back out and just saws the thing in half. And then he's got himself 2, they look like cattywampus is crazy in that they would not stand up, but they sure as heck have and he uses them for sawhorses. So, going to take that principle there and apply it to making 4 of these pieces, putting them in 45-degree angles. I think that's the right angle. And then securing these with the, or making the holes with the chisel, and hopefully trying the drill with a wide bit on it that will start to at least dig the hole. This has been wearing out really, really quickly with this wet wood, so I'm not too optimistic as to how well using this is going to work. I've looked at the drills at Lowe's for the Dalwith, the yellow ones, and Justin's got Trustin, pardon me, Truss, has himself a drill, and I swear it's no bigger than this, and it's got the stem on it, it's got the battery, and he's taken, in the wood he's using in Canada for his cabin he's building, his modular cabin he's building, he takes 10-inch screws with his little drill, and he just bzzz, and I wouldn't mind having one of those, because this just is not competing. And I don't know if it's because it's an old battery. I mean, this battery's a good 7 or 8 years old, I would imagine, if not 10. And it's 12 volts, so, you know, it's only going to have so much power to it. But I know I used this drill or one very similar to it. Maybe the battery was bigger, to build all kinds of the awnings and stuff around the pool back when we had the house in Balch Springs, Texas, a decade ago. And I built all kinds of things with just bzz, 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 bzz. So I don't know if it's the difference in the power, the age of the battery, or both, or the wetness of this wood. I was using treated lumber, of course, and anyway, I don't know. I'm at a loss for that answer yet. If anybody's got any ideas or comments about that, I would love to hear them in the comments below. I'm not using other than the drill, and I don't think I'm going to get to use it very much. I'm really not using power tools for this. So what I've been doing is I did my measurements. I found if you look at a piece of wood like this, you can see which way the main grain kind of breaks inside it. And so from that, I measured out my 1-inch block that I'm trying to cut. And then I have been doing it quite literally by hand with the old handsaw. And that has been an interesting practice, trying to get it to come out the way I want. But, I mean, I've been just sitting here slowly working my way down to the 2-inch mark that I have set off. And then I'm just going to simply cut here, and there goes that piece. And I can cut here. And so there, I have those 2 pieces. And now I just have this one ledge here to saw. And what I've found is it's best to turn my shoes inward, hold the piece as best I can, kind of lodge it in there, and then just come on with the saw. And I know there's probably several shop instructors out there who would be having flying duck fits right now to see me sawing like this. My grandfather probably would not be too happy either. You're going to cut your hand. Well, I've got my Hardy gloves on from Harbor Freight. They're not going to do anything to protect me if this saw comes down here, but I don't know of any other way to be making this happen. Now maybe I could use the chisel at this point and just get it to do that, but I want to make sure it stops at the 2-inch mark. Just a little bit more. So that I now have it cut down to the same level, and then I'll just simply use my 2-inch line marking here with pencil and clip this little piece off. I hope. And there we go. So I have what I hope is going to work for leg 1. Ideally, I think I should probably have this in a little bit more so that there's some that comes off here. But the way I cut it and measured it wasn't so much the way I measured it, but it's the way I got the saw started, and it just kept going that way. But it also, if you note, I think you might be able to see it from there. I do have a line scored here in pencil that shows which the thread or the seam in the wood goes, and I'm lined up with it. So we're going to give that a try. I think probably these are going to get cut down to about 14 inches from this spot to somewhere down in here. That will take it somewhere to, yeah, somewhere about right here as the total length. So I'll knock off this bit here. And when I do that, I'll have it actually sitting on something of a knot hole here. And at 45-degree angle, at a 45-degree angle, that'll probably give it a little bit more foot room to cleat onto the ground. And so then I will make my holes in here, line it up, and I've got 3 more of these to do. So I'll come back to you when I've got the other 3 cut, and then we'll start talking about working on the 45-degree angles going into the main log. And actually, I need to cut 7 more of these if I'm gonna make 2 of these benches, but I guess I probably had to make sure 1 bench works first before I go through all the effort of making 8 legs. Okay, so it's about an hour and a half later. I really haven't been keeping track of the time. I have my 4 legs cut. They're all 20 inches in length, very close to it. Yeah, right at 20. Each has a 1-inch square notch cut in it. That's 2 inches from the top of each piece. These 2 have them as well. They're roughly 1 inch. I don't want them to be exactly 1 inch, and I don't want them to be under 1 inch, because I plan to use a chisel that's 1 inch in diameter. So if they've got a little bit of a notch on them, or some of the bark, like this one's got a branch coming out of it, I'm not upset about that, because I think that's going to create more friction's not the right word, but grab is a verb, but I'm using it as a noun here. It's just going to create more of a tightness going into a hole that's 2 inches deep, hopefully, at a 45-degree angle. So what I've got to do now is put those aside and have a look at the edge here and get out my handy dandy triangle. And it has 45 degrees in it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my Sharpie and I'm going to draw, since this blade, I think this is an inch, I'm going to draw, well, what I need to do is determine the center of the piece of wood. And from there, the center is going to be 3 5/8. 3 5/8 inches from the edge, and then I'm going to take an inch back on either side and make a mark. And from those two, then I'm going to get my handy dandy triangle, and I'm going to put it flush. Gosh, it feels like something's biting me in the head. So then I'm going to take my handy dandy triangle here, and I'm going to put, I'm going to go back to the center line, and from there I'm going to draw a 45-degree angle out so that I've got a mark here, and at that 1-inch mark I'm going to draw another one and put it there, and then I'm going to flip it. Do the same thing here with the angles, make a mark, go back that inch, 45-degree angle, mark it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the board around and do the same business on this end. And it's maybe 1/8 of an inch longer here, so I need 3, well, no, it's same bit, 3 1/2 and 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 is the center mark, and need to do my 1-inch. So there's the 1-inch mark, and there's the 1-inch mark. Now I'll get my handy dandy triangle, as a certain cartoon character would have taught my daughters years ago. And so there is my 45 degrees, and there is my 45 degrees, and I'm going to put this mark here and that mark there, and then these buckets work out quite well, actually. So I'm locking it at 45 degrees. I'm at the middle point. I'm coming up, and I'm putting my mark there. And I'm really thinking I need to go back here instead and put that mark right there, because otherwise it's going to be too shallow over here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my level. Okay, so we've got my handy dandy level. And what I'm wanting to do is line up these lines right here, which they do. Hey Sharpie, it'd be a lot better if you made it easier to take the cap off. And so I'm going to draw this line all the way along the axis of the board, and I'm going to line it up with this one too. Ay. There we go. Okay. And then it is so hard to lean over like this with my back like it is. Yeah, I actually want to do that here too. Move back over to a different mark. Back over to that 2-inch mark, and it falls right there. So then I have my marks, one here and one there on the board, and I'm lining them up. Draw me a guideline. One more. Yeah. So I have these lines, and that was not sticking all that well to the wood. Okay, so now I've got my 45-degree angles in, and I've got them set. Oh, hang on, let me sit down. Okay, so I've got them set so they're coming out at 45 degree angles. And what I want to do now is I want to put holes here and one here lined up inside that spot, and I think I'm going to go in about 6 inches on each end, and then I'm going to use the chisel. That looks a little wide, doesn't it? Maybe the hole needs to be less of an angle. Ooh, I cut myself good. So I'm thinking on camera. You should have had this all planned out. No, I really shouldn't, because I'm making it up as I go. That's going to be too wide. That's going to be crazy insane. If I do that and come up 1 inch, that's a little better. I think that's what I'm going to do. Instead of using the 2 lines, I'm going to use the top line as the baseline. I'm going to go in about 7-8 inches on each end, 6 to 8 inches on each end, and then I'm going to make my squares, and that's where I'm going to put my holes with that. And that's not too bad of an angle, and if I need to, I can also do a cross tie between this board and this board with a horizontal A-framing kind of piece and tighten that up so you don't just go like, yeah, while you're sitting on the thing. So that's what I'm going to do next, and see how that goes. Get out my handy dandy Sharpie. And I also want to do it equally in on the board inside, because I don't want it to get out of balance. So I'm going to go 6 inches and 5 inches and roughly a 1-inch square here. And I know I'm doing it freehand. Okay, so here's 1 inch to 5 inches. It comes off that line. And there's one. And I'm just going to connect the lines. And let's flip it. Oh. Okay, so you can see I've got one hole here and the other hole here. And I've moved up quite a bit into the meat of the board, as opposed to not being way out here where the initial 45-degree angles would have taken me. And so from that, I'm going to come in the 6-inch, 5 and 6 here, make a mark, give it an inch to go along the board, a piece of wood, and then I'm going to square it off for that. And here's the top line, 5, 6 in. Yeah. Come around with the wrap. Get that one in, and that one in, that one marked roughly. And why don't these two line up? Is the board crissy-crossy? No, I'm measured stupidly. So they say, you know, measure twice, cut once. And, yeah, that almost cost me a colossal screw up there. So this is my hole here. That's my hole here. And so I'm going to mark the X's through. And maybe you can see that on the camera when I hold it up. So I'm going to put, with the chisel, my hope is I'm first going to start with the drill with an auger bit and take out the square as much as I can, or at least get it started. And then do the same with the chisel and the drill here and here. And then once I get the holes in, and they're roughly 2 inches deep, which is going to be a charm. How about that for the hat? Then these suckers will go fit right in, and we hope. And maybe we'll have a bench. So, okay, I'm gonna thank you to Carrie Casper. That was just a notification that you'd helped us out in this adventure. It says for provisions. Thank you very much. I hope you guys are doing well out there in Cali. And I have my chisel box here. So I've got several 1-inch chisels, and I've got some smaller ones to work with. Here's the 1-inch to put in. I've got another 1-incher. This one's made by Hart. I don't know who made these. I bought these yellow tipped ones at Harbor Freight. This, as you can see, is a 1-inch, and once you pull this out of the sheath for it, this is 2. And the lines are reasonably, or the widths are reasonably the same. So there's those 2, and then I've got one made by Irwin, and I call him Irwin because Irwin, I mean, that something like that just needs to be called Irwin. There's no other name for a thing like that. And he's got a nice sharp tip on him. It's not razor sharp, blunt edge. Yeah, I think Irwin, we're going to start. I'm going to see about how the drill works. So I've got my 3 bits out, or my 3 1-inch deals out. I'm going to go into the drill here and get my 1-inch bit. And I will show you kind of what I mean about this situation. And the drill. So let's see here how it starts. As you can see, it's got buzz and it's got the juice, but it's just no match for this wood. It's just not. It does fine until it makes contact. As I say about my 2 laptops that I have up here with 4 and 8 gigabytes of RAM in them, there's just not enough squirrels in this drill to make this work. So I am going to at least start it. Now, if somebody at Black & Decker or any other drill company would let me know why this is just not making it, I'd love to hear why. Is it because the drill's only... See, it's still got some juice. Is it because the drill's only 12 volts? Is it because this is a almost decade-old battery that's always been charged and now I'm trying to put it to work, and it just can't handle it? Or is it the wood being wet? I wish I knew the answer to that. But anyway, so I've got this started. That's at least given me a nice scoring. At least it's given me a scoring for where the holes are going to go. It's not giving me much of anything else, but you can at least see where it started. I'm going to see if I can't get a little bit more out of this one. So I got a little bit more scoring there than I had. So I think we're back down to, put that away for a while. The sledgehammer mini mallet. And I think I'm going to take this heart chisel here and see if I can't at least get some scoring done that way. That seems to be going quite well, actually. Okay. And then for the cross piece, line up on my lines. And let's seal off the square. Macy, you okay? Daddy's just hammering, okay? And so, yeah, so it's coming off. It's starting to make a good groove in there. And I'm going to pound these buckets to China, I guess. So that's working out. It really looks like the most you have to, you need to do the inners and the outers that run across the grain. That's causing the most chipping here. Not when I do it laterally with the when I do it laterally with the grain, it's not as fruitful here. And it's just coming out, like it should here. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to be doing for the next hour or so, maybe. I don't know if it'll take that long or not, but this seems to be working. I have 4 2-inch squares to pound into this piece of wood, and hopefully when those are dug, we'll have a space to tuck these legs in, hammer them down, seal them, and go from there with the installation of the legs. So just kind of muckying around a bit in there just to see what kind of play I have. And as you can see, work is underway. I've got maybe a 1/4 inch dug so far. So a lot of pounding to do here, and I'm going to save you and your ears for that from that. And by the way, it may have taken all of 3 to 5 minutes to cut this board in half today, this log in half with the chainsaw, and I already had a good, from that mucky line, you can see I already cut into it. But my ears are still, I did not put my earplugs in, I did not put my ear protection on. I just went ahead and used the chainsaw, get it cut and get it done. And my ears are still ringing, and it's 11 o'clock, and I think I did that somewhere around 8:30. So when you pull out your chainsaw or you're doing something that's loud, don't forget your ear protection, because right now I'm wishing I hadn't. Well, it's taken most of the day, but I've got the holes cut. The level is indeed level. I've got this leg here that wants to do whatever it wants to do. So it in particular needs some nailing. It's probably when I take it here to flip it, gonna fall out as well. But I'm pretty happy with how this worked, except for that. It has taken all day. That's just the way things work with me now. I just can't do something like this in an hour or two like I probably could have a few years ago. The back just doesn't allow me to do it, and neither does the rest of me. Anyway, I am going to, see if I take this one, it will fall out. See, it's too wobbly. But what I'm going to do is turn it over, and I'm going to put some rather notable screws in particular here, and I'll have a bench to sit on for the night and something else to sit in besides this wonderfully comfortable chair. This is making me mad. The hole's a little too big. I mean, mad's not the right word. Frustrated, maybe. There are some ways it fits better than others. And I'm just going to solve the problem and put some nails in it on an angle and get them secured. And pretty much, so that's level, and tip to tip, tip to tip, not so much right there. I may have to do some adjusting, but you saw when it sat, it was level, so we're close. Let's see, I don't know if this is going to work because I'm on a slope here. Yeah, because it's downward. Yeah, there's a drop, a big drop. Anyway, so I wanted to show you this in its more done fashion. Like I said, I'm just going to take some 2-3 inch nails, knock them in here at angles, secure them to the main log, and then call this one a wrap. I want to get to working on my bed frame, and I probably should have done that today instead of this, but some of the same principles I'm going to use to build the bed frame I wanted to have checked out before I got to doing the bed, in particular using the chisels and how well that worked. This is not a great piece of wood by any stretch of the imagination. Those are a little bit better. They're still green, quite green. So they're going to be a little bit harder and more difficult to work with in regard to notching them. But that's the fun of all of this, right? That's going to conclude this one. And I want to thank you for watching. I hope this gives you some ideas. Maybe you make one for yourself next time you go camping, or take a chair and save you a day. But this has been relaxing, and it's been a learning experience, and that's kind of why I'm out here for both of those things. And it's practical. I didn't pay a thing for it. I'm going to pay for the couple of nails and the tools, but I'm getting my money's worth for the tools, and then the nails are just nails, right? So thanks for watching. We'll have another video to post here real soon. Probably gonna finally tackle the bed, and sounds like Macy's wanting to play with her squeaky toy a little bit, so I gotta go.